My name is Mustafa, and I was born in Baghdad's Al-Qarq district, where the Tigris River hums and the streets pulse with life. My father, Umar, and my mother, Noor, raised me in a Sunni Muslim home where Islam wasn't just our faith, it was our heartbeat. Each morning I would wake to the Adhan's call, its melody weaving through the narrow alleys and into our small sunlit apartment. Baba would stand tall on our faded prayer rug, his voice steady as he recited Surah Al-Fatiha, his beard dark and thick. I'd kneel beside him for Fajr, a skinny boy of 8, my small hands mimicking his, trying to match his rhythm. When he glanced at me, his eyes stern but warm, saying, "Good Mustafa, you're learning." My chest swelled with pride. Those moments felt like a promise. I'd carry our faith, make him proud. Our home smelled of Amma's samoon bread, fresh from the clay oven, its crust warm and crisp. She'd move through the kitchen, her hijab pinned neatly, humming Quranic verses or sometimes a soft Iraqi song. After Fajr, we'd sit together, my older sister Layla teasing me for eating too fast, her laughter bright. Amma would pour chai, the steam curling in the air, and Baba would tell stories of the Prophet Muhammad, his voice firm, teaching us to honor Allah above all. Layla, 5 years older, was my guide. She'd quiz me on Quran verses, her eyes sparkling when I got them right. Surat An-Nas was my favorite, its short, sharp rhythm, easy to memorize, like a shield against the world. Every Friday, we would walk to the mosque, a simple building with a green dome, its tiles catching the sun. Baba's hand rested heavy on my shoulder, Amma's abaya swaying as we walked beside us. We'd pray shoulder to shoulder with neighbors, the room warm with shared faith, the Imam's voice rising and falling. Afterward, we'd return home, Amma serving kubba, the spiced meat and rice warming our hands. We'd laugh over small things, Layla's bad jokes, my clumsy attempts to help Amma cook. Islam held us together, a thread tying our family to something eternal, like the Tigris flowing steady through Baghdad. But life wasn't always steady. I was born in 1985 and my childhood saw Iraq's wounds, sanctions in the 90s, shortages that left Amma rationing flour and whispers of war in the streets. By 2003, I was 18, watching US tanks roll into Baghdad. Bombs shook the night, their rumble like thunder that never stopped. We'd huddle in our apartment, the windows rattling, Amma clutching her tasbih beads, her lips moving in silent dua. Baba sat by the radio, his face tight, listening for news. I'd grip Layla's hand, my heart pounding, asking, "Will we survive?" She'd nod, her eyes scared but strong, saying, "Allah protects us." I believed her, but fear lingered, sharp in my chest. As I grew, I took over Baba's small shop in Al-Qarq, selling tea, cardamom, and spices by my 20s. The market was alive, vendors shouting, women in hijabs bargaining, the air thick with dust and chatter. I would pray salah between customers, my small prayer rug tucked behind the counter, reciting Surat Al-Ikhlas under my breath. The shop was my world, its wooden shelves worn but familiar, like Baba's hands. Baghdad's unrest grew, sectarian fights between Sunni and Shia, militias watching the streets, but I clung to my faith, praying harder, believing Allah would keep us safe. Yet, as I swept the shop floor each evening, questions crept in. Why so much suffering? Why did peace feel so far? In 2010, at 25, I married Zahra, a quiet girl from our neighborhood. Her smile shy but warm. We lived above the shop, our life simple but good. Amma would visit, bringing kubba, her eyes soft as she watched Zahra make chai. Baba, grayer now, would nod, saying, "You're a man now, Mustafa." Layla had her own family, her kids filling our home with noise. Islam was our foundation, but Iraq's chaos, checkpoints, bombings, kept us on edge. I'd pray at the mosque, my voice blending with others, seeking Allah's mercy. But those questions about suffering grew louder, like a hum I couldn't silence. One evening in 2020 at 35, I was tidying the shop, the air heavy with cardamom, when I found something under a shelf, a tattered book left by a customer. Its cover read, Holy Bible. The word strange, almost dangerous in our Sunni world. I held it, my hands trembling, feeling like I'd touched something forbidden. I hid it in a drawer, my heart racing, not knowing it would soon unravel everything I'd ever believed.
The Bible felt dangerous, like a secret I shouldn't touch. In our Sunni world, Christians were whispers, few, strange, their faith a shadow we didn't speak of. I stuffed the book into a drawer under bags of za'atar, my heart pounding, telling myself I'd throw it out tomorrow. But I didn't. Something in me couldn't let go. That night, after locking the shop, I climbed the narrow stairs to my apartment above, where Zahra slept, her breathing soft. I pulled the curtains tight, the street below humming with late vendors. Sitting at our small table, the lamp casting a dim glow, I opened the Bible, my fingers clumsy on its thin pages. I expected to feel guilt, like I was betraying Baba's lessons on Tawheed, the oneness of Allah. Instead, I felt a pull, like a voice I couldn't hear but sensed. I started with John's Gospel. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The words hit me, strange and alive, different from the Qur'an's rhythm I'd memorized since I was 8. My chest tightened, torn between fear and wonder. I would pray Salah 5 times a day, my knees on the prayer rug, behind the shop counter, reciting Surat Al-Ikhlas to keep my faith steady. But my mind wandered to the Bible, hidden in that drawer. At night, when Baghdad slept, I'd read in secret, the lamp's light barely enough. John 3:16 made my throat catch. Jesus, a prophet in Islam, felt bigger here, more than I'd been taught. I'd close the book fast, my heart racing, scared of shirk, the sin Baba warned against, giving anyone power beside Allah. But those words stayed, like a melody I couldn't shake. I didn't tell Zahra. How could I? She'd pray with Amma, their tasbih beads clicking, their voices soft with dua. I'd see her smile, her hijab framing her face, and feel like a traitor. Layla, my sister, lived across town with her kids, and I avoided her calls, afraid she'd hear the doubt in my voice. Baghdad's streets grew heavier, militias patrolled, neighbors watched, whispers of traitors hung in the air. The shop was my refuge, its shelves of spices a shield, but even there I felt exposed. I'd sweep the floor, the broom's rhythm steady, but my thoughts were a storm. Why did this book feel true? Why did it scare me so much? One evening, a customer lingered, an older man with tired eyes. He bought tea, his hands shaking, and I wondered if he'd left the Bible. I wanted to ask, but fear stopped me. Questions could mark me. I locked the shop early, my hands sweaty, and read more. John 8:12, I am the light of the world, felt like a promise. But for who? Not me, a Sunni raised on the Quran, on Baba's pride, on Amma's prayers. Yet each night I'd read, hiding the Bible under a cloth, my heart torn between guilt and a hunger I couldn't name. Zahra noticed my quietness. What's wrong, Mustafa? She'd ask me, her eyes searching mine over chai. I'd shrug, saying, just tired, my voice hollow. I'd lay awake, her breathing steady beside me, feeling alone in a city of millions. The adhan would call, pulling me to salah, but the Bible's words echoed, louder, like a light piercing Baghdad's dust. I'd pray, my forehead on the rug, asking Allah for guidance, but my heart kept turning to Jesus, a name I barely dared whisper. One night, after reading John 4, I fell asleep, exhausted. In my dream, a man in white stood before me, his face kind but fierce, like he saw through me. He held a cup of water, his voice clear, "Drink and live." I awakened, my shirt damp with sweat, my heart pounding. The peace I felt wasn't like anything from Salah or the mosque. It was alive, heavy, real. I sat up, the apartment dark, the city quiet, knowing that dream would change everything.
I couldn't shake it, and that scared me more than the militias patrolling Al-Kharkh's streets. The Bible, tucked under bags of za'atar, became my secret obsession. I would lock the shop each night, the air thick with cardamom, and climb to my apartment, waiting until Zahra slept. Under the dim lamp, I'd read John's Gospel, my fingers tracing the words. John 4, about Jesus and the woman at the well, burned in my mind. Whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. It echoed the dream, that cup of water, that voice. My chest tightened, torn between awe and guilt. I'd been taught Jesus was a prophet, not God. Calling him more was shirk. The sin Baba drilled into me as a boy, his voice firm with Tawheed's truth. But the dream, the peace, felt truer than anything I'd known. I would pray Salah, my knees on the rug behind the shop counter, reciting Surah Al-Ikhlas to anchor myself. But the words felt hollow, like I was speaking to a wall. I'd glance at the drawer, the Bible's weight pulling me, and feel like a traitor. Zahra noticed my distance. "Mustafa, you're not yourself," she'd say, her eyes soft over chai, her hijab framing her worried face. I'd mumble, "Just the shop," my voice weak, hiding the storm inside me. I stopped going to the mosque as often. The green dome, a reminder of a faith I wasn't sure I fit in anymore. Neighbors whispered, had I missed Jum'ah again? I'd smile, nod, keep my secret close. Baghdad's streets grew tighter, militias watching, their eyes sharp. A bomb had shaken the market last month, leaving a crater near the tea vendor. I'd sweep the shop floor, the broom's rhythm steady, but my thoughts raced. Was Jesus speaking to me? Why did his words, his peace, feel like home? I thought of Baba, his hand heavy on my shoulder at the mosque, teaching me to fear nothing but Allah. I thought of Amma, her tasbih beads clicking, her dua for my safety. Reading the Bible felt like betraying them, our Sunni roots, the life we'd built through Iraq's wars. Layla called one evening, her voice bright but probing. "You sound tired, Mustafa," she said, her kids laughing in the background. I lied, saying business was slow, afraid she'd hear the doubt in my voice. I wanted to tell her about the dream, the Bible, but fear stopped me. What if she told Baba? What if word spread? In Al-Kharr, secrets could cost you everything. I'd seen neighbors disappear, labeled traitors for less. I kept the Bible hidden, reading only at night, my heart pounding with every page. One afternoon, a customer lingered, his face familiar, maybe the one who left the Bible. He bought saffron, his eyes meeting mine, and I wondered if he knew. I didn't ask, my throat tight. Instead, I read more. John 8:32, "The truth will set you free." The words hit hard, like they were meant for me. I'd pray, my forehead on the rug, asking Allah for guidance, but the dream's peace kept coming back, stronger each time. I'd lie awake, Zahra's breathing steady beside me, feeling alone in my own home. The mosque's adhan called, but Jesus' voice in my dream was louder,
pulling me towards something I couldn't name. One night I couldn't take it anymore. I sat at the table, the Bible open, my hands shaking. The dream's words, "Drink and live," echoed, that peace flooding me again. I whispered, "Allah, show me the truth." But my heart leaned toward Jesus, his name a weight I couldn't ignore. I closed the book, my breath uneven, knowing I stood at crossroads, my faith cracking, ready to choose.
I couldn't fight it anymore. I knelt on the floor, not for salat, but for something new. "Jesus," I whispered, my voice trembling, "if you're the truth, I need you." I waited, my heart pounding, expecting nothing but hoping for everything. That peace came again, deeper, like a light breaking through Baghdad's dust. Tears ran down my face, and I knew I'd crossed the line. I was a Christian. The next morning I felt different, free but terrified. I'd look in the mirror, seeing the same Mustafa, medium brown skin, dark eyes, short hair, but my world had shifted. I hid the Bible deeper, under a pile of tea crates, scared someone might find it. In Al-Qarh, a whisper could mean death. I would pray salat with Zahra, my knees on the rug, my lips moving with Surah Al-Fatiha, but my heart prayed to Jesus, silent and secret. Her eyes searched mine, sensing something off. "Mustafa, talk to me," she'd say, her hijab framing her worried face. I'd smile, say, "It's nothing," my stomach twisting with guilt. I was betraying her, Baba, Amma, our Sunni life. I stopped going to the mosque, claiming the shop kept me busy. Neighbors noticed, their glances sharp in the market. I'd sweep the shop floor, the broom's rhythm, my only calm, but fear clung to me. Baghdad's streets were tense, militias patrolled, bombs echoed in the distance. I'd read the Bible at night, John 14:6, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," hitting me hard. That peace, the one from the dream, held me when nothing else did. I'd pray to Jesus, my voice a whisper, asking for strength to keep this secret. For 2 years, I lived this double life. By 2022, I was 37, my faith a hidden flame. I'd slip Christian prayers into my day, closing my eyes behind the counter, thanking Jesus for his peace. Zahra grew quieter, her questions sharper. Layla called less, her voice distant when she did. I wanted to tell them, to share this joy, but fear stopped me. One evening, I found a note slipped under the shop door. "We know what you're reading." My blood ran cold. I burned it, my hands shaking, praying no one saw. Then it happened. One night in 2022, shouts woke me. Men pounded on our door, their voices rough, calling my name. Zahra clutched my arm, her eyes wide with fear. "What's happening?" she whispered. I didn't answer, my heart racing. Militants, they'd come for me. A neighbor must have reported me, maybe seen the Bible, heard my whispers. I grabbed Zahra's hand, pulling her to the back window. "We have to go," I said, my voice low. We climbed out, landing in the dark alley behind our shop, the air thick with dust. Shouts followed, footsteps heavy. I ran, Zahra behind me, through Al-Qarh's maze of alleys, my chest burning, praying Jesus would guide us. We hid in a friend's attic, the city alive with danger. I told Zahra everything, the Bible, the dream, my faith. Her face crumpled, tears falling. "You've left us," she said, her voice breaking. I held her, my throat tight, promising I'd explain later. The next day, I sent her to Layla's house, knowing I couldn't stay. I fled Baghdad alone, my shop, my home, my life left behind. A contact smuggled me to Erbil, a safer city in northern Iraq. There, in a hidden room, I found a secret church, faces like mine, scared, but full of that same peace.
I knelt with them, my heart heavy but alive, knowing Jesus had saved me, but at a cost I couldn't yet bear.
I knelt in a hidden room in Erbil, the air heavy with whispered prayers, my heart still racing from the escape. It was 2022, and I was 37, a fugitive in my own country, Iraq, after militants stormed my Baghdad home for my secret faith in Jesus. The room, tucked behind a tea house, was lit by a single bulb, its walls bare except for a small cross scratched into the plaster. Around me, faces like mine, scared but lit with that same peace I'd felt since the dream, prayed in hushed voices. This was the secret church, my new refuge, and those strangers, my new family. Erbil was safer than Baghdad, its streets quieter, but danger lingered. I'd moved into a cramped apartment, its windows covered, my days spent blending in. I worked odd jobs, cleaning, hauling goods, keeping my head down. The church met in secret, in basements or back rooms, never the same place twice. I'd slip in after dusk, my jacket pulled tight, checking for watchful eyes. Inside, we'd sing soft hymns, words I didn't know but felt, like Amazing Grace. A man named Yusuf, a convert like me, clapped my shoulder after my first meeting. "You're home now," he said, his eyes warm. I nodded, my throat tight, feeling that peace again, the one from the dream where Jesus offered me water. I'd lie awake at night, the city's hum faint, missing Zahra's soft breathing beside me, Amma's samoon bread, Baba's steady voice. I'd send Zahra to Layla's in Baghdad, promising I'd return, but her words, "You've left us," cut deep. I called Layla, my voice shaky, begging her to keep Zahra safe. "What did you do, Mustafa?" she asked, her tone cold. I couldn't tell her about Jesus, not yet. Baba and Amma wouldn't answer my calls, their silence louder than Baghdad's bombs. I'd pray to Jesus, my hands open, asking him to protect them, to soften their hearts. The Bible, smuggled from Baghdad, was my anchor. I'd read John 16:33, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart," and feel strength, even when I felt alone. The church became my lifeline. We'd meet, sharing stories of faith and loss. A woman, Maryam, told of losing her brother for converting. A young man, Sami, spoke of hiding his Bible like I did. I shared my story, the tattered Bible, the dream, the attack. Their eyes widened, hands touching mine, and I felt less alone. We'd pray together, our whispers blending, thanking Jesus for saving us. I'd wear a small cross necklace under my shirt, a gift from Yusuf, its weight a quiet courage. Between meetings, I'd sip chai in Erbil's tea houses, the clink of glasses familiar, but my old life felt far, like a memory of another man. I tried reaching Zahra, writing letters through a friend. "I'm safe," I wrote. "I found truth." She didn't reply, but Layla did, her words short. "Zahra's with me, stay away." My heart sank, but I prayed harder, asking Jesus to mend what I'd broken. By 2023, I was 38, and Layla called, her voice softer. She said, "Zahra talks about you. What changed you?" I took a breath, my hands sweaty, and told her about the dream, Jesus' peace. She listened, silent, then hung up. I felt a spark of hope, like a crack in a wall. The church grew, new faces joining, converts, seekers, all hungry for Jesus. I'd share my story more, my voice steadier, the peace stronger. One night, Maryam gave me a tattered hymn book, its pages like my old Bible. "You're not alone," she said, her smile kind. I'd read it, the words sinking in, and pray for Zahra, Layla, Baba, Amma. By 2024, at 39, I heard Layla was asking about Jesus, visiting a friend who read the Bible. My heart leapt, but fear followed. What if she faced what I did? I knelt in that hidden room, the cross on the wall glowing, knowing my story was spreading,
pulling my family closer to the truth I'd found.
Layla's curiosity about Jesus flickered in my mind, a faint hope that maybe she'd understand the peace I'd found. It was 2024, and I was 39, living in Erbil, Iraq, a fugitive for my faith in a secret church. My story, the tattered Bible, the dream, the escape from Baghdad, was spreading among underground believers, whispered in hidden rooms. I knelt that night, the scratched cross on the wall glowing under a dim bulb, praying for Layla, Zahra, Baba and Amma. But deep down, I feared they'd never see the Jesus I knew, the one who offered me water in a dream, saying, "Drink and live." By 2025, I was 40, and Erbil had become my sanctuary, though it wasn't home. The secret church was my family now, their faces scarred by loss, lit by faith, my only comfort. We'd meet in shifting locations, basements or back rooms, our hymns barely above a whisper. I'd share my story, my voice stronger, telling of the night Jesus spoke to me, the peace that carried me through Baghdad's alleys. A woman named Maryam, a convert, would nod, her eyes teary, saying, "You give us courage, Mustafa." A young man, Sami, gripped my hand, his own Bible hidden like mine once was. Their faith held me up, replacing the family I'd lost. I tried reaching Layla again, hoping her questions meant she was open. I called from a borrowed phone, my heart pounding. "Mustafa," she said, her voice sharp, "stop this. You're not our brother anymore." Her words cut deeper than the militant's shout. She'd read the Bible, she admitted, but rejected it, clinging to Islam, to Baba's teachings. Zahra wouldn't speak to me, her silence a wall. I sent letters, poured out my love, my faith, but they came back unopened. Baba and Amma too shut me out. Their last message was clear: "You've shamed us." I sat in my Erbil apartment, the air heavy from chai from a neighbor's stove, my chest hollow. I'd chosen Jesus, but it cost me everything. My wife, my sister, my parents, my old life. The church filled that emptiness. We'd gather, sharing bread and stories, our voices low but alive. Yusuf, the convert who'd welcomed me, taught me hymns, his laugh warm like Baba's once was. Maryam cooked dolma, its spices reminding me of Amma's kubba, but I ate with new faces, brothers and sisters in Jesus. I wore the cross necklace Yusuf gave me, hidden under my shirt, its weight a reminder of my choice. I'd read the Bible, John 15:18, "If the world hates you, know it hated me first," and feel Jesus' strength, knowing he'd walked this path of rejection. My story spread beyond Erbil, carried by believers to Iraq's hidden corners, even to Syria and Lebanon. I spoke at secret gatherings, my words reaching Muslims wrestling with doubt, Christians hiding their faith, seekers chasing truth. One night, a man named Tariq, still Muslim, slipped into our meeting, his eyes nervous. "Your story makes me question," he whispered. I prayed with him, my heart racing, seeing Jesus' light in his eyes like it was in mine 5 years ago. I'd stand in dim rooms, the air thick with hope, sharing how Jesus broke my darkness, gave me a new family when my old one turned away. I'd sit alone some nights, the city quiet, the Bible open. I thought of Baghdad, the Adhan's call, my shop's cardamom smell, Zahra's smile. I missed them, but the pain was softer now, eased by the church, by Jesus' peace. I was Mustafa, an Iraqi, once a Sunni, now a Christian, my life a testament to his truth. To anyone listening, Muslim, skeptic, lost,
Jesus is waiting. He is the way, the truth, the life. He found me, a shopkeeper in Baghdad, and gave me a new family. Step toward him. He's the truth you're seeking.